Hello and welcome. And we have another fabulous guest. Welcome to the Exponential Potential, Lucy.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
You're welcome. So this is our second day at the Corporate Wellbeing, and this month is all about new beginnings, fresh starts, and I think it's a really good time to start focusing on well-being as a fresh start.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually a woman that lives life by lunar. I kind of call it lunar living and the seasons. And I do think, spring is in the air, and I feel like this is the time we kind of hibernate in the winter. We kind of nest on maybe the goals, the dreams, the ambitions, and then now it's all coming to, the surface and flourishing. So it's a great, great time. It's actually my favorite time of year.
Yeah, it's an amazing time in the year as everything starts to come alive again. So really happy that you're joining us today. So let's who are you?
Yes.
and why are you here?
That's probably a good start. So yeah, my name is Lucy Eden, and I am the founder of a company called Be in Your Element. We are a wellbeing events company. So essentially what we do is we curate and create wellbeing focused experiences for organizations for whatever the objective is. So there might be connectivity, bringing, a very disjointed hybrid way of working back together again, but with wellbeing as a focus. Or it could simply be some calm to the organization, some serenity, some focus, some energizing, whatever that is, we find out, and then we create bespoke experiences to enhance that.
And it's being here at the Corporate Wellbeing, it's so good to see how many companies now are taking wellbeing more seriously.
Yeah.
And elevating it into a higher priority. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I still think there's a long way to go, if I'm being honest. So we was actually a show 2 weeks ago where we had been at last year, and what me and my colleague both said at the end of the day organically to each other was, last year we very much found that we were kind of selling the idea of well-being to a lot of people. They really couldn't get the concept of what it was all about and what we was doing. But this year a lot of people came straight over to us and they were like, oh my God, like we need to talk. And so I feel like that's changed. There's a shift there for sure. But I still think organizations don't see, because there's not a return of investment, as there's no money, there's no data that's driven like you can do with sales or anything like that, or marketing. The universe is agreeing with us there. If you heard that, that was just like
a background buzzing.
Buzz. And so I think there's still that challenge of a leadership level understanding, well, how come, what am I going to get in this return of investment? And it's a bit like, that's not something you're going to see instantly. And I think people need to have that awareness with wellbeing. It's a journey on every level, individual level, organizational level, leadership level, and they need to understand that to then look at it as, something longevity rather than a quick fix. It's never going to be a quick fix.
I think bottom line is, looking at sickness levels within organizations, people leaving because of they want something more fulfilling, they're not fulfilled at work, they're so burnt out, stressed out. So I think that's becoming quite prominent, and I think them becoming more open because they're realizing it's actually costing the business a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a real shift with that awareness of company culture. So to your point, back in the day when I was going out for jobs, it was about the location, the salary, and with that commute with the location and salary, that was all a consideration, but also a little bit about going up, you want to go up the ladder.
Yeah.
But now a lot of people are looking at, well, how do you look after me? Where's your flexibility with, being a mum or a father or whatever it is? And I think that's a really big shift. And to your point, people deserve that. Back in the day, you would just be kind of slave to the system because you would just get the job that paid the wage, and whereas now we've got a bit more of a power when we sit there in the seat getting interviewed, if you like. So what are you going to do for me? So I think there's a real shift with that for sure.
Yeah. And that's amazing. It's exciting to be part of the shift.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
So talking of, fulfillment or let's say sustainability, what do you think it takes to create sustainable success as an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
What sort of things do you implement?
So I definitely think surround yourself with good people is a massive thing that gets overlooked. So when I talk about that with sustainability, because it can get hard, I must admit the irony of I come from the events industry, so I've been burnt out and I've been very stressed and I've had that very intense lifestyle, but there's good stress and bad stress as far as I'm concerned. So I kind of rise to that challenge. You've got to get this done by a certain time and then people have an amazing experience. But being in the wellness and having my own company and being responsible for a bigger team has its different level of stress. And I've faced depression and things that I never had before. So it's interesting that I've gone into that space, but actually surrounding myself with good people to level me out, to give me a sense of perspective really helps. And then my own personal journey, what I do to help with that sustainability with it all, because it can all just get a bit crazy, whether you're deep, thick into the unknown and maybe financial worries, whatever that might be. And also if you're in the elation and you're the best thing since sliced bread, all of that comes sometimes with some challenging environments. And I feel like if you could just keep yourself level headed, and that's with good people around you, and that's with your own, what I call self-care toolkit. And my self-care toolkit is being mindfulness and meditation. For others, it could be breath work. It's definitely moving my body. I feel so if I haven't moved my body for a while, and being out in nature. So they're kind of my personal sustainable go-tos to really keep me leveled out when the noise and the chaos will be a bit too much.
Yeah, so after this, we're going to be spending some time in nature for sure.
Yeah, we've been 2 days in a very fluorescent cardboard box, breathing in each other's air. We did some breath work this morning, didn't we, to help us? And I'll definitely be going out to get some natural daylight in a bit as well, for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And what advice would you give your younger self?
There's so much advice I'd give my younger self. Definitely be kinder to yourself. I think we're all too harsh. We're our worst critic, and you don't need to be that bad on yourself. Everybody else can be, pretty bad. So you don't need to put that extra level on top of yourself. It's not needed. Be kind to yourself. Also, don't care so much about what other people think. I think we live in a world where there's all this narrative and all of this conversation going on, and you can look at people maybe on a social media platform and you can aspire to be them and be, you look at them and just get some innovation ideas, whatever it is, but don't ever feel that you're not enough from doing that. There's a fine line between being inspired and then also just looking at all these other people are doing it. Why aren't I doing it? And all of that. You don't need to do that. The more that you tune into yourself, the happier you'll be, and the more you'll organically go on your journey. We're not all meant to walk the same path. That's the beauty of it. That's why there's so many beautiful individuals in this world. We all play our part, and it's just listening to yourself. I think my biggest advice is listening to my inner calling, like I think we don't value our instincts enough. And if you can just take out the noise and listen internally, you'll soon find out where you're meant to be and feel, more comfortable with what you're doing, for sure. I wish I was like that a lot younger. That'd be great.
And I love what you said about none of us are supposed to walk the same path.
No.
That's a really, if you allow yourself to absorb that, it's a really powerful statement.
Yeah, and I think just like our fingerprints, no two are the same. And your well-being journey, your life's journey, your life's lessons, all of that, no two are the same. There'll be similarities. And again, I think we're all here on a human level to help people with that when there's been a sense of loss or joy and everything in between. But no two people are the same. And you have to tune in and be happy with yourself. And if you're not, you have to look into what that is and then just look at things that bring you joy. Life's too short for it not to be that case. And I feel like, again, with this noise, you could be listening and almost carrying on other people's joy, if you know what I mean, and not truly. Another bit of advice I'd give myself, my younger self, and I give it to myself pretty much weekly, is I check in with myself.
Right.
Because sometimes, and also as women, our hormones are all over the place. So what we are one week, we're certainly not another week.
Yes.
And I feel like you need to check in with yourself and be like, do I need to move my body today, or do I need to just relax and have a bath? Do I need to be a go-getter and like doing sales and that part of my role, or do I need to just nurture and do something a bit more kind of back? You have to. Don't try and be something you're not, because you're always going to be fighting an energy that's not aligned with who you are, which will then lead to you just feeling more, burnt out, exhausted, because you're going against the grain.
Yes.
Tune into who you are, be comfortable in your skin. If you're not, look at why that is and just do things that bring you more joy.
Yes. More joy.
Yeah.
We all want. Nobody wants to be miserable.
No.
Make joy a priority.
Absolutely. But somehow we also naturally put that to one side.
Yeah.
Or again, speaking as a woman, I think this happens more on the woman. Sorry, gents, I know you have this ability, but women do tend to just naturally put other people before themselves. And so it's then such a natural thing of like, whatever's joyful, just put that to one side for a second and maybe sort out the kids, or you've got to go do this. And so, but actually, no, just take 10 minutes, even if it's just having a little dance in your kitchen to your favorite tune, like,
Yeah.
whatever it is, it doesn't have to be taking a whole day out to do it. You can find those joyful moments in every day.
Yeah.
It's about doing that to link into the sustainability point of view. To sustain your health and well-being is to find the joy in every day, to find the peace in every day, to find those little pockets of opportunity to just navigate and balance you out with all the other things that are out of your control, because that's the key for well-being. That's in your control. You can help yourself with your breath work, with your mindfulness, whatever your thing is, that's in your control. Everything else when you go out the front door is out of your control. That traffic jam, that person on the train, that terrible email that's sent, or anything else really, that's out of your control. But how you put your best step forward is what you can control.
Yes. Yeah. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't.
Yeah, I think that just helps with our health
Yeah.
and well-being as well. That mentality, you know.
Yeah. And one last question.
Yeah.
What would be your next album cover?
See, this is a great question. And I think I was, when you asked me this, so my company's The Elements. So I was thinking about all just 4 elements, but the one that I'm really connected to at the moment, because again, it's all about the check-in. So my album at the moment, I'm like Adele. So maybe this is like I'm age 23, maybe when I'm the other one, I might be different, but it's a wave. I feel like the wellness wave, I basically feel like well-being is a bit like a wave, and when we help people, we look at how they can basically balance on their own board, if you like, because the idea is you're never going to calm the sea. You just need to know how to navigate it. And if you look at it as its ripples as well, and everything's just a phase, and sometimes the waves are huge and they're overwhelming. Sometimes they're little and they're peaceful and they're beautiful and you can sit back and enjoy them. But sometimes they're in the middle and it's chaos. You know, I think we need to look at wellness as a bit of a wave like that. And I think by attaching it to some fluidity, just knows that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it kind of just gives you that insight that everything will pass. And I feel like that would be on my vision board from a well-being perspective. And then all along my waves would just be my goals really for what I want to do. And that is to make a big splash and have well-being as part of every element. Like this event that we're in, I'd like there to be a well-being space here next year where people can actually really sit and chill out if that's what they need. There needs to be some noise cancellation so that people can, you know, neurodiverse, anybody else that might be struggling with the over stimulation, if you like, with the lights and the noise. And I want people to look at things. So my events background is you'd always book an event, you'd always book a venue, the security, the food and beverage. You need to book like something to do with well-being. You need to, it's not an extra enhancement. It's not part of the entertainment budget. It's a structured, standard application to experiences that go on in an event space like this and in the workplace. That's my dream and my goal.
I love that. And I love your wave analogy. Yesterday we had the butterfly analogy with Sadie.
I love that.
And the butterfly effect and the transformation. And today we've got the wave, and it's that natural ebb and flow, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, yeah, like I say, when there's fluidity to it, it doesn't make it so harsh with how it can feel when you're in the now. And sometimes you can't see through the trees, right? That all of these different analogies and sayings, but if you just see it as it's a flow, like you said, it's a flow, and then it's a flow of life. And if you lean into that a bit more, you're going to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Lean into it and enjoy the ride. You heard it here. So thank you so much for joining us, Lucy. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
And you.
And we'll be along with our next guest very soon. Take care. Well, thank you, Lucy. Bye-bye. Bye.